In today's video, we are going to look at an exciting application called the Chainlit. So we are going to be building an application using the Chainlit with LangChain and OpenAI. So the LangChain is just like the Streamlit, but this is really meant for chatbot. Okay, so in the interface here, I'm going to walk you through how this works, and we're going to dive into the Chainlit. Okay, so it helps you to this application helps you to upload a text file. So I'm going to upload a text file. Okay, and I'm going to ask questions in the text file. Okay, I'm going to say what is it about. Right, it's retrieving it. Right, it's about changes in retail executive positions in Walmart focus. All right, so I'm going to so it's giving out the sources for that. So I'm going to click on the first one. Right, so it's giving out the sources in the text where the answers are found. Second one, second one, third one. Right, awesome. Okay, so this here you can also go to the settings and you can expand the text. You can hide the chain and you can change the mood. Okay, and the README here is like a welcome message, so you can make changes to this to meet your needs. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through that. And if you want to do a new start all over, you can just go to new chat and it's going to say this will clear the current messages. Right? If you want to clear everything, you can confirm. If you want to start all over, you can just confirm that. And you want to, if you don't want to do that, you cancel it. Okay. So this is pretty cool. All right. So let me get you into the Chainlet. All right. So let's look at the overview. It's an open source Python package that makes it incredibly fast to build and share apps. And it has we integrate the Chainlit app in your existing code. You can do that to create it to make it work like a ChatGPT interface, like the one we just saw. Okay, and it has key features you can build, makes you build app faster, and you can visualize the multi-steps reasoning, right? Like the one we just saw here. It gives you the breakdown of the steps that is going through. Okay, so you see the retrieval Q&A chain. So if we had two or three chains, it's going to break it down here for us to see how it's working. Okay, and you can interact on prompt, dive deeper, working with a prompt, collaborate with your teammate, you share your apps. Okay, and let's see with the lang chain. Okay, it makes you build um, apps together with lang chain. Let's look at an example and how the logic works. So this is pretty much like the previous launching applications using like the Streamlit. This time you're using the Chainlit, and we're going to, if you want to install that, you can just do, let's look at installation. You do pip install Chainlit in your um, terminal. Okay, so this is how the logic works. Okay, so when you import the packages and define a factory function decorated with this one, cl.langchain is a decorator and returns the LangChain instance. So the one we see right here, okay, so far as the function is called, it's it returns the instances in the function. Okay, so whenever this is seen here, the chainlit.langchain factory, it returns the langchain instance. All right. Okay, and they use async is equal to true makes the flow of the input and output of messages. Okay. All right. So a lot of the work is done by Chainlit, and it's take care of the connections, the instantiating of the launching for the user sessions, like the input and output of the information from the user point and the system point. Okay. And the it passes the callback handles to the launching instances to execute and running the launching instance on the input, the user input. Right. So whatever the user input in, it runs the launching and it gives out the output. It also helps in the sending the output of the LangChain instance back to the user. So there's that flow of the input and output of the messages, right? So it is a great way to really flow in the communication of the system. So you can run it by Chainlit run app. So for Streamlit, we do the Streamlit run app.py, and this sign here also the flag, it tells us the Chainlit, it auto reloads anytime you make any changes in the code. Okay, so we don't have to reload it over and over. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the code. All right, so you can get the code in the. So most of the code that we will be working with here is in the document, right? Just for demonstration. All right, so I'm going to. You can grab that. Here I'm going to put the description below, so you can grab that. You copy that, right? And you, within the GitHub, you can download as a zip file. You can also clone it. Okay. So when you have that done and you upload it in the in your VS Code or your PyCharm or yeah. So how you when you upload that, the next thing is you should have something like this one. So first we install the packages. We install LangChain, ChromaDB, create the vector stores, tick token, take care of the tokens, the chainlets, and of course OpenAI for the LLMs. Okay, so in your terminal, you can just type pip install environment. All right, so when you have that installed, you get back to the app qa.py, and we're gonna need this import these packages. So import OpenAI embeddings to create the embeddings of the text. All right, um, the recursive character text splitter to split the text, the chroma for the vector stores, retrieval QA resources to get the question and answers in the sources. So we create a chain for that and chat OpenAI, and we're gonna need the API key. All right. So if you don't have the API key, I'm gonna show you. Get to the platform for the API. You just go here, click on View API Key. It takes you here. You click on Create New Secret Key. It's gonna pop up your secret key, and you're gonna copy that, and you can paste it. So I have my API key stored here. Okay, and I've named it API key. So that is why I imported from API key, import API key. And we're going to need the launching prompt of chat import, and it's going to take care of the chat prompt template. And the chat prompt templates going to have the system, what the system is going to generate, and what the human message prompt template. Okay, so it's going to be the roles between the user and the system. Okay, and we're going to need the OS. We're going to need the Chainlit. Okay, as the going to call that CL. So we're going to set our environment variable. We're going to assign that to the API key. Okay, and we're going to split the text using the recursive character text splitter. We're going to do a chunk size of 1,000. So we're going to bring the text into chunks, and we're going to select a chunk overlap to be 100. You can decide to do it 0 depending on your use case. And the system template is what is very sensitive here, and that is what is going to do the magic for us. Okay, so we are going to, so this is, so that this code can be found here. Let me just show you when you get to, yeah, document keyway, right? Everything that I'm talking about is here. So this is what we want the system to do. Okay, we want it to use the flowing pieces of context to answer the user's question. If you don't know the answer, just say that you don't know. Don't try to make an answer. Always return a sources part in your answer. The sources part should be a reference to the resource, to the source of the document from which you got your answer. All right. So if you want that, all right. So this is what we want the system to do for us. All right. So an example of the source should be like this. The answer is this. Sources is that. All right. And we're going to put that begin, and we're going to do that to a summaries. Okay. So if you want to make changes to that to fix whatever you want the system to do, you can just upgrade that. Okay. And when that is done, we're going to create a list called the messages, and we are going to input in the system message prompt template, and we are going to do the human. So this is what we just created here, the system template, and we are going to assign that to the system message prompt template. I'm going to put that here, and we're going to assign a question. So whatever a question you put in here is going to interact with the system template. Okay, and we create a prompt using the chat prompt template, and we are going to pass these messages in here. All right. Yeah. So this is interesting so far, and we're going to do a chain type quad. That's going to be the prompt. Okay. So we're going to create a chain type from the prompt that we have here. Okay. So the next thing is to start working on the chainlet, and we are going to do create a function. The function says def init. So inside the def init is we are creating a file. Okay, we are getting a file, and it says you wait for the user to upload a file. So I'm going to show you where this is. It can be found here. How in the chainlet, okay, how we ask a file message. So it has several ways. Okay, the attributes, the accept, so we can accept a CSV application, a PDF, a text file. So we are doing a text file today. Um, I'll be coming out with some other tutorial on how to do the PDFs as well as the CSVs. Okay, you can have the option to choose the max size. All right, you can have the max files if you want maximum of 10 files to upload, you can do that. Um, so if the number of seconds to wait, nothing comes out, timeout error, and whether to raise a timeout error if the user does not answer in time. Okay, so these are ways that you can ask a file input. Okay, so we just grab this code here and you paste it here. Okay, so this is how you can call a file message. Okay, and it called assign the file to the files, index of 0, and the message processing, like we saw in the demonstration, it shows that processing, and you decode the file to meet the format. Sometimes, if not the right format, you might get an error. So you decode it, you split the text into chunks. Chunk by using the text splitter dot text split, break it into chunks, call it text, and you create a metadata for each chunk. Right? You want a metadata, and we call it source, and you iterate through the text, each of them. Okay. So you create a comma DB, you create a vector store, that is the embeddings for the text. So what we are going to do is you create a doc search, and with the comma vector store, we get the text, the embeddings, and the metadata. So we have three information here. So the text, embeddings, and the metadata. Okay. So that is what is going to be used to get the answers. And now we create a chain that using the chroma vector store. So we get a chain in here. So this is going to be used for the QA and the sources, right? So within the retrieval QA with sources chain, we are going to do the chats, the LLMs, and we are going to do the chain type to be staff, okay? And so after creating the chain, we save the metadata and the text. So after and the use and text and the user sections. Okay, so we're going to save that and we let the user know that the system is ready. So it gives out the message and say process, you can now ask question. And we're going to return the chain and we're going to build that to get the answers. So once again, we call this function the decorator. And under that, we are going to implement this function. We're going to say, going to pass in rest. And what it's going to do is going to create the answers and the sources. And we are going to get the sources element, go create a list. And we're going to get the metadata and text from the user section. Okay. So we get the metadata and we get the sources and the text, right, from the user section. So if there are sources here, found sources, if there are sources, we add the sources to the message. Okay, we iterate through the sources, we split it, okay, and we're gonna stripe dot replace. If there's a dot, we are going to replace that with an empty string. So we get the index using this code here. We use the try and accept to get errors, okay, and we are going to append each of the sources name to the found sources, right? That is the list here, okay. And the next one is to create the text element, reference the message. So getting the text element, we are going to append the text and the source name into the source element. Okay. So if source found, we are going to join them, found sources, else no sources found. And we are going to wait for the final answer. Okay. Yeah, pretty cool. So you can just plug and plug and play each of the scenarios here, different chain to answer different questions. Okay, so if you want to run it, you can just do Chainlit run the name of the app qa.py. We do the sign, flag sign, and hit run. Right. Okay, so this one right here, I'm going to show you what that means. Right. So anytime you run it, it creates this message, like a welcome message. You can substitute this with any information that you like. You like this content, don't forget to subscribe and share. See you in the next one.